Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Apologies for the lateness, for the tardiness. I have valid reasons. Will you two stop? Off. Suki, stop. Man, it's going to be a challenge to get through tonight. I can tell you. Suki, stop. Ow! Stop it. Let me pull up the comments so I can see what's actually going on. So part of the reason I'm late is because I'm having some tech issues. I was going to run through Zoom again tonight because I was really annoyed with how the sound and the with how sound and the syncing wasn't working on Facebook. Obviously, that was really annoying me a few weeks ago. I don't know if the syncing's working. If someone can tell me if it's syncing right or not, apologies if it's not. I can't control Facebook, unfortunately. So I tried to. Stop it. I tried to link in through Zoom. Zoom wouldn't connect properly to my Facebook to go live. And then I've got two dogs going crazy. Up here I've got the new puppy. So Django is here. I will show you in a second. But at the moment he's finally calmed down a little bit. He's tried to eat. He's been eating the Christmas tree. He's been eating the cables. He's been trying to eat the big dog Suki. He's been biting me. I've just been trying to get everything done, and it's been a fucking hell of a week. If I'm brutally honest, a real shitty fucking week. So yeah, that it's not ideal. I'm really sorry it's not syncing properly, guys. There's not a lot I can do. Like I say, I can't control Facebook. I don't know if there's any way I can do anything to it. If I just cover my mouth like this for the rest of the video, then you won't know about the syncing and not syncing. I could put my face mask on. If I put my face mask on, then you won't notice. Django, off my... Come here. Django, come here. What's this? Come here. Sorry. So I have a new puppy. So I will show you the new puppy. I apologise about the out of sync. I don't know what to do. Django, get off my slipper. Come here. Django, what's this? Django, come here. What's this? Try and teach me not to chew. Come here. Come say hello to him. Come here. Right. Say hello to the puppy. Oh, that's the wrong end. Right. Say hello to the puppy. Look. Right. And I'll put him down and he can go and play with Suki. So here's Django. I get mouth. Dude, stop it. So this is Django. He is 8 weeks old. Here's our little Cocker Spaniel. Yes, you can say hello? Yeah. He is causing havoc. We love him to pieces and he's joined the family already. But you just eat everything. Look, he just eats everything. Oh. Now, you're going to be treated to an absolute delight in a second because Suki is over there. She's about to lie down. When she lies down, the second she lies down and goes to sleep, he decides that's a good time to go and play with her. So he goes and jumps at her, barks at her, kicks off until she gets up and chases him. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. And then she'll wander off. She'll go lie down. As soon as she lies down, straight away, he starts doing it again. So I will show you in a second. It is really funny, but it does annoy the hell out of the dogs. Like they annoy each other. But they get on really well. So yeah, this is Django. Oh, I've missed all the things. I am absolutely tired. I'm knackered, Laurie, and I will tell you all about it. I think, yeah, I am knackered. I've had a really difficult week. It's it's been a nightmare. And to be honest, you're probably going to see me do. You're probably going to see me in a more negative spiral than you've ever seen me before, or than I ever normally am. I normally have a couple a year, so I'm having one at the moment. Loads of conversations here. It's like it's just chewing away. And my hoodie, my Join Joel hoodie. Stop! You're not supposed to be chewing that. Right. Time to get down. No, time to get down. Say goodbye. With your big floppy ears. Say goodbye. Okay, right. Go down. Right. Django Unleashed is absolutely right, James. Absolutely right. I'll show you what they're doing. So, Django's under the table. See his tail go? That's an indication. There he goes. There we go. As soon as Suki lies down. Absolutely nuts. we go. Sorry, I find this really exciting. I don't know if anyone else is going to find it exciting, but one dog will kick off at the other dog. I know he's going on, I wonder. Okay, right. It's absolutely like having a newborn again. Yeah, we're trying to puppy train him so he goes to the toilet outside. And once we've got that done, it'll be all good, I think. So yeah, I'm absolutely knackered. I'm wearing a hat today because I couldn't. It's been a struggle this week. I don't know how else to say it. So obviously I'm off work this week on paternity. And that is a big problem for me because some people are going to find this really sad. Like I can see some people are going to be like, "That's really sad. What a shame." I'm not looking for any kind of sympathy whatsoever. I'm not after any sympathy, so please don't even consider giving me sympathy because I'm not after that. I find it really hard not to be at work, and lots of people will find that really bizarre. But it's the same. I find it really bizarre for the rest of the world saying they find it really hard to be at work. It's just the flip side of the coin. What are you doing, you stupid dog? So I found that really tough. Just not because there's anything I have to do specifically this week, but just because that's the routine I'm in of doing things in a certain way. And it's really hard to work from home because it is disruptive. I think Monday I had a couple of calls and the kids were coming in and out, and that was quite difficult. And then I disturbed them in their home ed world. We've obviously got the dog this week, so that's been a bit of a difference anyway. So that I disturb them, they disturb me. It doesn't really work for anybody. Here we go. I'll show you. There we go. No, dude, I went to show them what you were doing, and now you're jumping up at me. Don't jump up at me. Go play with Suki. So yeah, that was hard. Then I had a falling out with the kids, and then I had a falling out with the wife. So that doesn't really help. So yeah, it's been a tough week. Dude, get off my slipper. Dude, come here. Django. No, sorry, I can't let him eat stuff, and he's chewing to pieces my slippers. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare tonight, I can tell. Stop. Hey, drop it. Django. Hey, drop. Out. No. I do apologise. I'm going to probably put him on my lap and see if I can get him to go to sleep. And at least that way, I'll be able to actually do my life. Come here then. Come here. What's this? Come here. Come on. I know. Come here. Ugh. Right. Sit there. Good boy. So yes, it's been tough. Productions. Let's talk about productions. So, the production we had at Shrewsbury, I'm still not. Oh, he's cut me when he bit me. I'm still not allowed to talk about it. I can't confirm or deny anything. So yeah, I saw there was some posts on social media. I saw some posts on social media the other day. I saw there was pictures of actors and stuff. I think it was a production. I think it was called Time. Off the top of my head, Sean Bean was in it. Stephen Graham was in it. A few other actors. I saw some stuff on Twitter and Facebook, and I saw that we'd been tagged in, or Shrewsbury Prison been tagged into a couple of posts. As I've said all the way along, I can't confirm or deny anything in terms of who was filming, what was filming, or anything like that. Only that we had a production they've now left. We do have another one actually coming in on Sunday. They're only in for a couple of days. Again, I can't say anything at this stage. I think I'll probably be able to talk about that one a little bit sooner, probably after next week, but I can't say anything at this stage. Oh, stop chewing everything. But yeah, so nothing overly exciting there. Right, just chill. Dude, chill. I do apologise. It's going to be a really shitty Joy and Joel this week. Because, yeah, he's in my lap and he's just trying to chew my arm to pieces. So, dude, stop it. We have to go down again. Right, down you go. Go chew something. Go chew your toys. Look, you've got toys. Oh, we go. Right, here's your rope. Come on, go chew that. Right, questions? Anything other than productions, please? I'm happy to talk about. And we'll go from there. Let's have a quick look. Right, I'm going to have a quick look at the comments. Oh, cool. No, people are getting it. People are seeing about being off work. So, yeah, that's one of the instances. Like I said, I had a proper falling out with my family this week with my wife and kids. And it's still not really resolved. And it's always difficult, especially with your kids, because, you know, when they're the age that my two are, 7 and 9, they don't really get it, but then they do get it. And it's kind of difficult, and you're trying to have a semi-serious conversation with them, and you can see they're understanding it, but then their attention just wavers. So it is quite tricky. That's been quite hard. Really impressed though with the guys at work. I mean, God, and I guess this is probably the other, I don't know, I wouldn't say stressful piece, but the other bit that is maybe a little bit difficult for me in the sense of the guys at work haven't needed me really this week. They've got on and they've done it, and they've been moving quite nicely and doing really well, and it's been lovely watching Lauren and Charlie. I'm going to use the word flourish, although that's probably not fair, because they've really taken on the ownership of their sites, really taking on the mantle, really ploughing it forwards, making huge inroads to the way that the two prisons operate. And very much they've sort of both taken the approach of, when we need you, Joel, we'll give you a shout. Until then, we've got this. And it's interesting because I've like to think that I've led them to a point where that's how I respond. That's how I've always been at jobs. I've always turned around to my bosses. I'm like, I've got this. When I need you, I'll give you a shout, but I've got this. Obviously, I still want to keep an eye on what's going on, because mistakes will get made and stuff like that. But by and large, I think that they're pretty on top of it, which is really good. The central team as well, that's looking really good. So that's freeing up my time to look at all the other bits and pieces that I want to do. And yeah, I think I've just been a little bit depressed this week, to be honest. So here we go. We've got to 12 minutes in. It's been a little bit haphazard. Now we get to the serious join, Joel. I've got my rum and coke. I'm not going to talk about depression as such, but like I say, it's been a really difficult, negative week. So I am going to sort of be in a bit more of a depressed mode than you would normally see me. Nowhere near as positive, smiley, happy. And I think it's important that people see the other side and they recognise that actually it does exist, and it's not always perfect, and life isn't always great. Get down, you. So it's been like that this week, and I think part of that, like I say, has been being at home, not being at work, seeing the team move forwards. There's been some real frustrations this week in terms of just a couple of contracts and things. I'm going to talk in a second about some of the instances that have happened to me this week with some of our suppliers, some of our partners, some of the real frustrating things. And because of the way I've reacted probably not in the best way necessarily. So some bits like that. But yeah, and I think the other piece that's really got me is when I wasn't running, when you're not in the detail of a business. So for the last 5 years, I've been really heavily involved in the detail, like the real minute details of the business, right down to, how many lettuces we're ordering for the restaurant, how many coffee beans we've got, or how many bags of coffee beans we've got, and how many that does a real nitty gritty kind of heavy detailed stuff that a CEO just can't do if you want to scale a business. I could probably still do it at this stage, but we would never scale any further. So I've been in that for about 4 or 5 years. And although I still have ideas and I have things that I want to work on and things pop up to me, it very much has kind of felt like my entrepreneurial gift, if you will. Gift's the wrong word, but my entrepreneurial DNA has kind of been, I don't want to say wasted, because it's not been wasted, because I've utilized it obviously driving forwards my own businesses, but it kind of feels like it's been put to one side. It's been in the shadows. And by that I mean that I have so many different ideas. And today, it doesn't matter actually how it came about, but I was chatting to a guy that came around today to do some work on something in our house. Really nice guy. And we got chatting, and he was telling me about how he was in the Paras, and he left the Paras and came back, and he became a car salesman, and he wanted to run his own company. He became quite successful. And then he lost it all, and it all folded, and he was telling me the reasons why. And I was like, wow, this is like, sounds like my first company. He was saying that he helped his wife start, and they had a couple of salons, and that failed, and he went to something else. And now he works for somebody else at like £10 an hour. And he's just like, it's just completely different world. And I really kind of felt for him. But as he was chatting and as we were talking, I could see, I was just like, dude, you are wasted working for someone else. I mean, you're not wasted if that's what you want to do, but wow, you've got some real, like, huge potential, great knowledge. Really impressed. I was like, I'd love to spend some time with you. I'd love to work with you on a build business or a concept or something. And I got so passionate and so excited for the first time this week, really, sort of chatting to him. I was like, that's the bit that I'm really good at, is those kind of bits. I can do the detail, I can do the heavy detail of, how many leaves of lettuce go into a burger and making sure that's cost effective and your GP hits 72% and how that margin rolls in, how we advertise, all that kind of stuff. I can do it, but it's not where I'm passionate. I'm passionate about helping other people, and I spoke a lot last week about who I am now and where I want to be and the person I want to be, and the person I want to be is helping other people. So I'm getting there. I'm getting that journey. So it's just taking a bit of time. And like I say, this week was a bit of a depressive week. I'll as Lauren would say, I'll have a chat with myself. I'll pull myself out of it, and I'll move forwards. But yeah, it's just been. And sometimes it's actually, you need to wallow in your own self-pity for a little while. You need to kind of wallow in your own depression for a little while and kind of bring yourself out of it. You don't always need somebody to drag you out of it and pull you out of it. Sometimes you just need to go through that journey. It's all about the journey. So that's been that. I'll give you a couple of examples of where I've been a little bit pissed off this week with businesses and how that's worked. So we've got a company we work with. I won't tell you who it is, but one of our partner companies. They'd sent me a quote for a new piece of work. Absolutely fine. Happy with the quote, no worries. Just like, yeah, fine with this. Send me the contract, I'll get it signed. They sent me the contract. I always compare contracts with quotes just to make sure everything's like for like. Never get stung, never sign a contract without reading it properly. And I was going through it, and there was 2 points in there that were different to the quotation. I was like, why? Like, you can't do that. You cannot change a contract. You can't change terms from a quotation to a contract and not tell anybody. You can do it if you tell me you're doing it, but don't send me a quote and then when you issue the contract, change some of the terms in the contract and don't flag it, because that is doing business in a dishonourable way. And I was just like, that's not on. And I'm really adamant about that. If they'd flagged it with me, I wouldn't have had an issue. I might not have agreed to it, but I wouldn't have had an issue. But the fact they didn't flag it, and it was an oversight on their part, so it wasn't done maliciously, but I was fuming. I was proper irate. So I'd sent them an email, and I was probably irate because this is the second time it had happened. I sent them an email telling them how irate it was and telling them how I didn't expect this to happen again. And they responded to me and saying, yeah, on this instance, you're absolutely right. Like that, our bad, hold our hands up. And they went, but the other point was in the quotation. And I was like, what? No, it wasn't. And I'd already had this conversation with one of my internal team, and they'd flagged it to me to say, is that in the quotation? I was like, no, definitely not. So I banged off my email. And it was, and it fucking was in the quotation. So then I basically, I put my hands up and I emailed these guys back. I said, look, really sorry, I've checked the quotation, you're absolutely right, that piece was in the quote. And they turned around and said that they would absorb the cost, even though it was in quotation, because I was so angry and so annoyed. They said they will absorb the cost of this piece, not to worry. And I went back and I checked, and they were absolutely right, it was in the quotation. So I banged out an email. I was like, look guys, hold my hands up, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right, it was in the quotation, don't know how I missed it, but I missed it, that's on me. Send us the cost, we will absolutely pick up the cost. You quoted it, I agreed it, that's on us, you're not paying it, we'll pay it. And I was like, and that's the way it is. And again, I apologised a couple of times. I spoke to him on the phone, said sorry, spoke to the MD. And again, we'll probably say sorry a few more times, because that's the way it's done. I made a mistake, I fucked up, hold my hands up, no worries. But yeah, so that had happened. And then today I had a really stupid fucking phone call. Like a phone call from BT, basically, because we've had surveys done at both the sites for having our own dedicated internet lines installed, so we can have a dedicated internet line. We share internet with everybody else in the area, and obviously we need more speed, more capacity. So we've done that. We've done Shepton's, we've signed that off, so that's being installed shortly. And Shrewsbury's, we had a survey done to figure out how we were going to get the line installed, because it's obviously not that straightforward, just getting a new phone line installed into a prison. There's a heritage attraction that's listed. It's, you can't just drill through a wall. So we had them come and do the surveys, the site surveys. And I was chatting to the sales guy that we deal with at BT, our account manager, about the surveys. And I clarified with him that, the survey work, he's eating my toes. The survey work, Django, stop eating my feet. The survey work we had to get done, I had to sign off. We were just signing off the survey and not an order, because the order's like £21,000. He said, yeah, it's just a survey, it's free, get the survey done and then we can look at the contract. Did that, fine, no worries, had the survey done a couple of months ago, it's fine. Had a call today from a guy saying, right, your account's about to suspend because you haven't had it installed. You've got a month to get it installed, otherwise it will go into cancellation. I was like, we haven't even ordered it. I said, yeah, I've got a signed contract here. Your name's on it, Joel Campbell. It's signed. As far as I'm concerned, it's good to go. You either get it installed now or it'll cancel, and either way, you'll be liable for the money. And I explained to him about the conversation I had with the account manager. He said, well, your account manager's wrong. He's not doing his job properly. He's lying to you. His words, not mine. And I was just like, well, I'm not having this. I'll speak to my account manager. I'll come back to you. I was fuming. I was just like, he goes, he doesn't even work for BT. He works for local BT business. I was like, he's got BT email address, for God's sakes. You can tell I'm on my soapbox here. Anyway, I spoke to our account manager, explained the issue, and he said he'll deal with it tomorrow, which is good customer service, which is good, but annoying that the first lot of customer service through BT was so bad. So I've got to sort the dog out 2 seconds. Oh, no, he sorted himself out. So that's been the long and the short of it. But what was lovely, I don't know if anybody caught the live on Wednesday. So I was in Wednesday. I'm really bloody irate about the vaccination scheme. I'd be interested actually to know what other people think. I'll come back to that in a second. So I was a bit irate on Wednesday about the vaccination scheme. Came in to do the live with Graham, a little bit ticked off. And I sat down. I was trying to get everything ready for the live with Graham. I was having actually a few words with Graham about a few things. We're just having we weren't having an argument. We're just having having a heated moment, Graham and I. And Harriet and I as well. I think everyone was just trying to keep away from Joel, to be honest, that day. And I was like, right, Graham, shut up. We're going live. Graham, stop. We're going live. Right, okay, we'll be live. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, we're live. I was like, hello, everybody. Welcome back to one of our lives. We are coming out of the blocks today. We are really enjoying it. Officer Goodwin, would you like to say good morning? He's like, good morning, everybody. How are you? And we just switched. It didn't matter what was going on behind the scenes. As soon as we were live for our public, it was different. And that's about, professionalism. And we spoke afterwards. I was saying to Graham, I was like, do you know what, Graham? I love the fact that, we were really ticked beforehand. Like, both of us were a little bit ticked, but we went into that with absolute professionalism. We did it. We got the job done, and I feel so much better after that. And he was like, yes, that's what we do, isn't it? So that was kind of been the week, really. I haven't got enough work done this week that I wanted to get done, but I've actually kind of just today, I'm going to do a few emails and then sod it. I'm going to go and design my shed outside. So I did that. A few other bits, played with the dogs. Gonna have a few drinks this evening. Try and make up with the wife. So we try and make friends again. That's kind of been the week, really. Like I say, a bit depressive, bit wallowing in self-pity and stuff like that. But got to do it. I do it about twice a year, I reckon. So let me just float back through the comments. I'll come back and I want to speak about COVID vaccinations. See what I missed. Suki. Django, leave her alone. I think you just heard what happened there. So Django kept pushing the dog. Suki wants to be left alone. She's sleeping in the corner. Django keeps pushing. Suki's like, bugger off. And eventually what happens is Suki bites him. Well, she bites him. She mouths him enough to make him go, oh, shit. And he has a little squeak. And now he's over here looking very sorry for himself. Do you want to come up here and do you want to go to sleep, buddy? Django? Come here, mate. You alright? Oh, did she get you? Did that big, mean, nasty dog get you? Well, I did tell you to leave her alone. Okay, now you just sit down here and go to sleep. Good boy. He's pretty good. He's a pretty lappy dog. But cockers are very good, I think, in terms of Just in general, there we go, mate. There you go. You go to sleep. He is lovely. Love him to pieces. This dog. I'm going to have to flip him around the other way because he keeps trying to eat the cables. Look at that face. How can you not love that little face? Eh? Right, sorry. Let me just have a quick flick through these. Yeah, see, Laurie, you're saying, I can say obviously your names because you've put them up publicly. Lauren's saying that you suffer badly with depression, anxiety. I think we've spoken about before, and it is really hard. I had a really bad time with anxiety and anxiety attacks and panic attacks for a long time in my 20s, for a few years, and it nearly took me out of the game altogether. Like, seriously, really, really hit me. And I can remember starting a job, and one of the staff had anxiety attacks, and I didn't really understand it then. I'd never had one, so I was just like, well, this kind of thing, this isn't real. Like, you're just faking it to milk it. And I can remember having my first anxiety attack and not knowing what it was, and going through the process of identifying it and having it effectively diagnosed, and I had to pretty much self-diagnose it as well. And just, it was awful, absolutely awful. And I can say about so many different times. I know I've said I'll talk about it at some point, and today it's probably still not on the night, but I can remember, not being able to get out of the car, not being able to leave the house. And I can remember thinking to myself at one point, and the job I was doing was a lifeguard at the time, and I ended up having, I think, 6 weeks off work. And I watched the entire Friends series, all 10 series back to back. I watched every single episode in that period of time. I didn't really do anything. And when I finally got back to work, I can remember sitting in the lifeguard chair and looking at the pool. It took me months to get to a point where I could just do that. And I was looking at people swimming, and I remember thinking to myself, really clearly, I can remember this, that I was just going, this is my job for the rest of my life. And I was thinking, I was like, I'm going to be 50 and I'm still going to be sat in this chair, still doing this same job. And I'll be doing this into my 60s till I retire, because I couldn't imagine me ever being able to go to another interview ever again for another job, because I was like, I won't be able to leave the house in the morning, and if I get out of the house, I won't be able to get out of the car, and if I get out of the car and I get to the interview, I'll probably pass out, and just going, I'm never ever going to be able to do an interview for another job. And I really wanted to progress. I really wanted a bigger career. And I just remember thinking, like, that's it. Like, I'm comfortable doing this job now, but I'll never be able to do anything else. And this is it now. And I was probably 25 maybe at the time. I think it was probably 25. And I remember thinking, wow, this is the next 40 years, this job. And there were people there that were in their like late 40s, early 50s that had been there for 20, 30 years. And I was just like, this is it, man. This is me. And I was just, wow, that really hit me like a ton of bricks. But yeah, I'll talk about that another time. So yeah, I do really understand now depression, anxiety. I've never been depressed, I wouldn't say. I've never had depression in that sense, but I certainly understand it much better. And actually, do you know what? To a degree, I would never wish anxiety attacks on anybody, panic attacks on anybody. It was an awful time in my life, a horrendous time in my life, but it has given me a really nice insight into what people go through for no reason. There was no reason for me to have those. It just hit me. So yeah, I look like a Bond villain. It's like only with a dog, not a cat. But yeah, he does this. He'll go to sleep now, and that'll be it. That'll be him for another hour and a half, and then he'll get around, and he'll play, and he'll pass out. It's like having a baby. Yeah, Rachel's saying the same thing. Just had 3 months off for depression and anxiety. I think we've all just had 3 months off for the depression and anxiety. So it's tough. Yeah, I'm just having a quick look through. Sorry, I'm just flicking through the comments. That's why I've not been on the Starways page much. It's a shame people miss Wednesday's live. It's a really difficult one on the lives with Wednesday, because we were kind of figuring out what time's best, but we stuck with 11 o'clock on a Wednesday, and it does seem to feel like the best time. So yeah, that's why we've chosen that. Cool. Right, I'm just seeing people's comments. Yeah, Graham's absolutely fine, Alex. Yeah, Graham's sound. he's got nothing to worry about. Do you know what I mean? He's about to get vaccinated, isn't he? He's an old man. No, right. That brings me on to vaccinations. Right. I'm curious. Ping me your comments on this one. How do we feel about vaccinations going to the elderly first? And when I say elderly, people in care homes and stuff like that. Personally, I don't think it's the best idea. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a disease specialist. I'm not a pandemic specialist. So I don't have all of the facts. But there is an element of research I've done on this. I think there's an element of, to a degree, almost common sense. But I don't agree, and I'm happy to hold my hands up when I'm wrong. But I don't think that vaccinating people in care homes is the right way to go. I think it's a mistake that the government are making, probably on top of a number of mistakes they have made, a number of things they've probably done well and right, but a number of things they've done badly in this pandemic. And I think this is another one. And I think they're actually vaccinating the wrong people first, and they're structuring the vaccination process in the wrong way. I understand why they're doing it. I don't think that's the reality of why they're doing it. But yeah, so I'm quite, I would say I'm relatively outspoken about that, but I'm tentative in the sense of I don't have all of the information that the government have, so I'm making a bit of a best guess judgment on it. And Laurie's hit the nail right on the head there for me. She says it's rubbish. I've not gone quite that far. No. And it should be 20 to 40-year-olds, as they're the ones currently spreading it statistically. And I totally agree with that, Laurie. I think that's nail on the head for me. And I'm going to give you some examples. I had the reason Harriet and I had some crosswords. It wasn't anything difficult. It's just I had an opinion, she had an opinion. We're both strong characters. And I wasn't in a particularly good mood, so we just agreed not to discuss it that day. But her dad is 80. Still, I think he lives by himself. I don't think he's in a home, but still very able to go and do lots of things himself. So therefore, she wants him vaccinated so he can actually go out and get on with his life. Totally understand that. My dad is 76. 75. He has got a number of health conditions, but he is still, absolutely with it, and he's able to go and do his shopping. He bubbles with my sister. He's in a tier 3. So, the idea of him having it, yes, I think that's a good thing, but I don't think it would be a problem if he didn't have it for another 6 or 7 months. I say that carefully. My gran, who's in a care home, who's 90, has got dementia, she will be on the list to take it. So she will get vaccinated. She doesn't leave the care home anyway, other than with my mum or my aunts to go to get a coffee, a couple of times a week before COVID struck, just to get her out of the care home type of stuff. Doesn't really know kind of what she's doing. So in that sense, I don't think it's necessarily the best idea, because a lot of the elderly people they are vaccinating in care homes are not going to be going out. Therefore, they are not necessarily at risk of spreading it or catching it quite in the same way. I totally understand that if they catch it, the repercussions for them are far, far severe, probably resulting in death compared to a 20 to 40-year-old catching it. I totally understand that. And that's the balance, isn't it, between balancing life and the economy and everything like that. So I am very cagey about how I approach this, but my gran won't be going out, and more to the point, my family won't be able to go see her still. So it's kind of like, well, why are you vaccinating her? Because she's safe at the moment, and nothing's going to change until the younger generation are vaccinated. So it's a bit of a balance. And as Laurie says, I think if the ages of 20 to 40 are vaccinated, they're the ones out and about. I mean, I'm not saying I need to be vaccinated. I'm not arguing for that. But my age bracket, and I fall pretty well in the middle of that age bracket. I'm going to claim I'm in the middle of that age bracket. I'm probably closer to one end than the other. Is absolutely out and about. And the younger age of the 20s, some of them are flouting the rules anyway. I mean, they are throughout the ages, but some of the younger ones are flouting the rules anyway, and they need to go out in terms of the sociability of it. And then some of the 25s to through to 40s, professional people have to go out to work, parents have to go out to get kids, all those kind of things. It just makes more sense. And I'm kind of just on the spectrum of, there's a few things. One is a PR case. The government got slammed about how they handled the elderly, the vulnerable, the care homes. So they're trying to make a PR case here. They are only have a certain amount of vaccines landed at the moment, so you can only vaccinate a certain number of people, and they can hit pretty much the entire catchment of nursing homes, care homes, and support staff around that in the first dose. So that makes sense. From, again, they can do an entire batch with the first a lot of vaccinations coming through. Whichever way you spin it, is taking the attention off Brexit. Brexit hasn't really hit me that much until last week, because we're about to import stuff from America, and there's a new 25% tariff on importing to Europe now. So I'm probably going to wait another couple of months for us to leave Europe before doing the importing. The trouble is, nobody knows what the import costs are going to be exactly come the end of January from the US, because we won't be in Europe anymore, so we'll have a different trade deal, and that's thrown further into unknown territory because they'll be changing the presidents. So it's all a bit complicated and unknown. So I think that's part of the challenge for me. And also, you've got to kind of go with, do the government kind of know what's happening best here? Personally, I think the place to start is with the frontline services. So I would start with NHS, police, fire, definitely those services first. I would get all those people done first, absolutely. And then I probably would look at things like the workers inside care homes, because that will stop the spread. And then I would come down to the age brackets and work it that way. And I would probably get up to the LD slightly later on, I'll be honest. I don't have all the data, as I said, so I'm just I'm kind of spitballing to a point. Laurie's just said, what would PM Joel do? What PM Joel would do would take all of the facts, all of the figures, sit with people that really understand this and ask their opinions, take on what they're saying. And I believe that's what does happen. I think where it falls down is people in power are then overtaken by their own importance. And because they're in power and they've been voted into power, and because they see it as power, they then make a decision based on almost their arrogance. And I wouldn't do that, which is weird because I'm a very arrogant person. So I think I would take that. But the one thing I would do is I would explain it to people. I would go live and I would do press conferences and I would explain it to people. I would have call-ins where people can ask the question, and I would have the people there can make the answer. Say, look, this isn't perfect for everybody. It's not an ideal situation. We all know that. This is how we think it is best to operate. This is how it looks. We're doing this for the first time. Everybody's doing this for the first time. And there's the ability for it to go wrong, really wrong, or the ability for it to go right. And we're going to have to take a best guess scenario on this. And the people making the best guess are some of the most intelligent people in the world. And we are following their guidance. But actually, let's follow their bloody guidance. So yeah, I think that's how I would go about it. But I would go about it in an honest and open way. It makes me cringe. It makes me cringe and upset at the same time, and pull what little hair out I have whenever I hear anybody. And I have the same opinion. Go, I don't trust any of the politicians. They're all the same. I was just like, man, how have we got ourselves to a world where the people don't trust the people that we put in charge to run the country for the people? Makes no sense. Oh, there's notes being thrown down the stairs again. I've fallen out with my wife this week, relatively big style, and I'm not sure how that's going to look. I don't think we're looking at divorce just yet, but I trust her implicitly, and I wouldn't have married her otherwise. And I hate the idea that we have people in charge that we don't feel that we trust. And I think that's across party political lines, to be honest. I think everyone's a bit like that. So that's what I'd really like to change in the world. And that's kind of me moving on, which is, I'm coming towards the end of the session now. One of the big things I said to my team, I've been saying it for 5 years now internally, I haven't really said it to you guys, is that, I'm going to change the world. I am going to change the world, and you guys can be part of it, or you can not be part of it. It's your choice. And I hope you'll be part of the organizations that we operate, but I'm going to change the world. And anybody that wants to come with me, brilliant. Let's go on the journey and let's do it. And I don't know how I'm going to change the world yet. I'd like to think we can change it for the better. And that's my push. That's my play is PM and change the world for the better. Small steps. So that's going to be starting there really. So that's kind of it. Yeah. James, I think that's a good point. I think that's a good shout. Frontline staff. That's what I'm saying. Blue light workers, healthcare, police, fire, emergency services. First, then elderly to younger. That might not be a bad shout. Got to by who's most at risk of fatalities. Yeah, to a degree, I don't disagree with that. But then again, my gran, she's going to be at high risk of fatality. She gets it. It's probably going to kill her. She's 90. She's got severe dementia. I'm not saying that my gran should die. I'm just saying that there's a debate to be had about it's the balance, isn't it, between life, economics, the greater good. It's that argument. It's such a difficult one to do. And that's why I think, that's why the PM's job's hard, because you are making decisions that affect millions, tens of millions of people's lives. Now, it's interesting because I make decisions, not quite on a daily basis anymore, but certainly on a weekly basis. I make decisions that will affect 50 people's lives directly, as in terms of the amount of employees we have, and then their families as a direct implication of that. So I haven't sat down and worked that out. Maybe that's as many as 200 people. I don't know. It's going to be around that sort of figure. So, probably on a weekly basis, I make decisions that will affect about 200 people's lives. Now, it may spread further than that because of all the other stuff that we do, but and that's a lot of pressure. So, imagine making decisions that affect, 60, 70, 80 million people's lives in an instant. Oh, that's pressure. But the trouble is, do you know what? The real issue I find with that is I think that prime ministers and politicians, I'm going to say, rather than prime ministers, are more worried about the bad PR. They're more worried about the bad PR than they are of making the right decision. And I think and it might sound a bit weird, but I think they would rather make the wrong decision and guarantee not having a bad PR than potentially making the right decision, but having that worry of, am I going to get bad PR around this? I think that's what I'm getting at. Anyway, look, I'm going to leave it there. Like I said, a bit depressive this week. I should be back on my stride for next week. I will be, hopefully I won't be on the side of the road in a car, because I'm heading back from Shepton next Thursday because I'm down there for the day, but it could well be that I'm doing Joy and Joel on the side of the road in a car. So we'll see how we get on. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for putting up with me. And yeah, we'll be back next week. So from me, from Django, say goodbye. Waff. I'll catch up with you next